Okay, guys, we're going to talk about some of my realizations and studies from the day. Now, it's raining outside. Beautiful, gloomy day. I love it. I played Sparks by Coldplay to befit the mood, right? Anyway, so let's start with this. I am currently going through the Abhidhamma, particularly the compendium, the Abhidhamma Pitaka commentary, one of the most popular ones. And this commentary is commented on by Bhikkhu Anuruddha, right? So that's technically what I'm working with, right? So it's a summation of the Abhidhamma Pitaka, which is 7 books. Okay, this is 9 compendiums about that. Now I'm studying this because it's a great concise way to kind of take in all of the Buddha's teachings. Now, it is complicated in that you have to learn all the terminology, and that's what Bhikkhu Bodhi helps you out with. Sorry, I think I said Bhikkhu Anuruddha. Yeah, so Bhikkhu Bodhi, apologies. Anuruddha, actually, that was the one who did, the traditional monk who did the commentary on the Abhidhammas in like the 12th century, okay? So I didn't mess up completely. So yes, so it is very challenging to work with on its own, and even with the commentary. There's just so much going on. The thing is, besides the easily accessible little nuggets of Buddhist teachings you can find here and there, the reason why you want to study this is because it kind of gives you the whole map of cause and effect, basically. It shows you that each moment of existence is basically conditioned. It's dependently arisen, okay? So it's an expansion on the Buddhist teaching about that fact. The fact that everything is just causality and it's empty of any real sense of self. Any sense of self that is generated is always an assumption by the mind in the present moment. The second you release that, well, where's the self? It's gone. Then there's just beingness, right? And even that is not what we are, because beingness is dependent on time and perception. What we are is the deathless. It's beyond time and space, beyond definition, okay? So the Abhidhamma, this is an exposition, a very detailed exposition on the 5 aggregates. So form, feeling, perception, formations, and consciousness. Okay, so it details what all of those look like, all possible variations of phenomena, such that there's nowhere left for a self to hide. Okay, that's the beauty and merit of being like a scholar in this, being a well-studied in this, having a mental map of all the factors in here. Now, I don't think you need all of them, to be honest. I don't think you need to memorize every single piece of information in here. But you do, the sadhana, the spiritual practice with the Abhidhamma is literally the memorization and mental mapping of all of this. And when you have that, like I said, if you have a very clear, distinct mental map of these cognitive processes and realms of existence and so on, types of consciousness, then it's going to really help you generate vairagya, or viraga in Pali, dispassion for existence. You're going to see everything as conditioned and dependently arisen and fabricated. It's going to help you out with that practice. And that's very powerful for cutting through stress and suffering. It's very powerful for entering samadhi, and of course, working towards the goal of fruition, if that is your goal. Okay? So anyway, now the first chapter, that's about the 89 or 121 types of consciousness. Then we have the Cetasika, the 52 mental states or mental factors. And then the third compendium is basically categorizing consciousness by different sort of modes of categorization. Feeling, bases, doors, objects, functions, and so on. And then we go into number 4, which is cognitive processes. Okay, so this outlines how the mind flows, how the consciousnesses flow between each other as things are being cognized, as sense objects are being cognized, during the process of life itself, during the process of existence. Okay, but the one that I'm studying today is the 5th compendium, the one of process freed, the compendium of process freed. And what does that mean, process freed? Well, we're free from the process of an existence, an individual life form existence. Okay, so it's talking about what happens to your consciousness at the moment of death and beyond. Okay, so So look, there's a few key terms you need to know here. One is rebirth linking consciousness. So this is it's the chitta, it's the consciousness, the chitta, that is responsible, that determines which plane of existence you go to after death. Okay? We have the life continuum, bhavanga consciousness. This is the baseline consciousness that if there's nothing fancy going on in your consciousness, no wholesome or unwholesome states or anything of that nature, the baseline that it returns to is called bhavanga, life continuum. It's just basically the identity consciousness, so to speak, the individual identity consciousness that you carry throughout this life, but devoid of color. It's just consciousness, okay? Very useful term though, okay? Life continuum, rebirth linking. And then we also have rebirth linking, bhavanga. Maybe we'll see if there's other ones that pop up. But here's what you need to know from this compendium. There's 4 sets of 4. There is 4 types of karma, 4 types of death, 4 types of realms of existence, okay? And then 4 types of realms of existence, karma, death, and rebirth linking consciousness, okay? So now let's get into the realms. Now this is an important part of the process-freed consciousness because, well, we want to know where we're ending up after death. And we want to know how to get the best results, right? That's not entirely up to us, but it is in large part in that you can train your mind throughout your life to basically ensure a skillful death experience that leads you to favorable realms and existences, right? So look, we have 4 planes. Now the first is woeful, apaya. So this is hell realms, animal realm, preta, which is hungry ghosts, and asura, which is kind of like a mélange, a blend of different types of beings, apparently. Some people translate this as titans. I don't know if that's a good word for it, because I think of Hercules and the ice monster and the volcano dude and all that. Right? So maybe asuras includes the various types of etheric beings. I'm not sure. Like the naga, the yakas, the gandhabas, and so on. I don't know. Either way, you don't want to end up there. They're woeful realms, meaning there's more pain than respite and relief and pleasure. Okay? So then we have the human realms as well as the devas. There's the human as well as some of the deva realms. And this is the sensuous plane. It's not the fine material plane. It's, the sensuous sphere. Okay, sense realm. Whatever. So humans, up to devas. So now a cool thing is, right above humans is the realm of the 4 kings, I want to say, the 4 great kings. And so they preside over these 4 beings, apparently, preside over the 4 classes of etheric beings, like I mentioned. So these are Gandhabas, the celestial beings, celestial musicians. For some reason, musicians specifically, I don't know why they're not like carpenters or something like that. Celestial painters, who knows? So the Gandhabas, the yakas, which he translates as spirits, but I've seen it as ogres before, or at least the one that I heard of was portrayed as an ogre. Spirits, okay? What is it? Kumbhandas. Kumbhandas, so these are like elemental beings. He calls them gnomic spirits that guard mountains and forests and hidden treasures, which I'm very curious about. Okay, and then nagas. These are like the serpent beings that you hear about in Buddhist literature. Okay, so that's cool. Then we have the fine material realm. This is where you go if you're a master of jhana, the 4 jhanas, the 4 states of samadhi. You're going to go to one of these 4 realms, but it also includes different types of Brahma. These are higher dimensional beings than devas, apparently. And of note, in the 4th jhana, on this plane is also equated the beings that have no perception, non-percipient beings. Okay, so like a rock. These can be types of beings, apparently, according to Buddhism. And I've seen some evidence for that in a book called Initiation. I don't want to get into that but that's kind of like a weird sort of thing to be aware of. You could become a non-percipient object if you don't get your karma together. I don't know what causes that, to be honest, but and the pure abodes, also on the fourth plane of jhana. Okay, this is where the anagami, the non-returners, land if they don't make arahantship before they die. Okay? So, and then the immaterial planes is the fourth type. So if you're a master of the 4 types of immaterial jhanas, then you're gonna go here. And I don't know what here is in this case, to be honest, okay? But basically your lifespan increases each time you go up one of these planes, up until the final one, perception, the plane of neither perception nor non-perception. You're going to be alive. You're going to be a being for 84,000 aeons, okay? And there's 3 types of eons. And I think there's really 4, to be honest. The Ayukalpa, the lifespan. The Ayukalpa, the lifespan, that's the human lifespan. For Siddhartha, in his time, it was 80. I want to say it's still kind of 80 now. It's kind of like the ideal average. Next is the Antara Kappa. Antara Kappa, that is the interim eon. And that's the span of time from when humans have a lifespan of 10 years all the way up to several thousands. And I'm pretty sure I saw the figure of 80,000 back when I researched this many years ago. But Bhikkhu Bodhi doesn't give a definite on that. He just says many thousands. Okay, and so the Antara Kappa, I'm just going to call them Kalpas because I like the Sanskrit word better than Kappa, Pali. So the Antara Kalpa lasts for however many thousands of years it takes for human civilization to have 10-year lifespan all the way up to 80,000, let's say, and all the way back down again. Okay, so this is probably tens of thousands of years, to be honest. If we're thinking like Lemuria and Atlantis type time frames. We know we went from 80 to 900, at least, according to other mystical material. So yes, Antara Kalpa. Now, here's where it gets kind of mind-blowing. Then we have Asankhya Kalpa. This is incalculable. Incalculable aeon, that is 20 sets of those cycles. So very, very long period of time. A Maha Kalpa, great eon, is 4 of those, 4 incalculable eons. So a mind-bending amount of time. Buddha's analogy for that span of time is, he gives you an analogy. Say you had a mountain 7 miles tall by wide, and a man would come by and wipe it with a silk cloth every 100 years. Once every 100 years, he would just wipe it one time, stop. So however long it would take him to wear away the mountain, and I'm guessing he means go through it, create a tunnel, that's a Mahakalpa. So very terrifying span of time. Probably impossible, to be honest. Yeah, that's where it's at. So so those are the 4 planes of existence. I wanted to hit those. There are 4 types of rebirth linking consciousness. It tells you exactly what type of consciousness brings you to the woeful plane, brings you to the sensuous plane, and so on. We're not going to get into specifics on that or the karma here today, but I just wanted to touch on a little bit about Abhidharma as well as some cool things from the Process Freed, the Vitimutta Compendium. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this random fact video about the Abhidhamma Pitaka, and I highly recommend this book if you are a Buddhist nerd, okay? So, see you guys next time. Peace.